Okay, this is lesson 3, multiplication and division of rational expressions. So we're going to bring in a lot of what you learned in the last 2 units, where we're going to be simplifying our polynomials by either factoring or long division, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And then we are going to be simplifying. So multiplying straight across is going to be a lot easier when we have factored down the polynomials. And then division is going to be just the inverse of multiplication. In fact, we're going to flip it and turn it into a multiplication problem and then proceed with our simplification and multiplication. So let's dive in. Our first objective is to multiply rational expressions. So looking at here this example, on this first one where it factored out 2x, the bottom one we can factor out a -1. So this should be like a reminder of what you've done in the last couple of units. Recognizing a difference of squares, factoring trinomials, factor outing GCFs. All of that is going to come into play here. So if you need to brush up on that, you might want to go back and review those factoring notes. So let's bring back some multiplication fractions refresher. Remember, when you are multiplying, you multiply straight across. So multiplying it, you don't have to have a common denominator. You simply multiply the numbers straight across. So 4 times 3 in this case would be 12. And 6 times 8 would be 48. Now you remember that you need to simplify your fractions. And if you don't know how to simplify fractions, if it's confusing for you, let's pull in Desmos, okay? Because Desmos will simplify them for you. Just so you know that you are able to use Desmos on anything. So I'm going to pull that in here just for a second, and I'm going to show you that 4 divided by 6 times 3 divided by 8, it gives us 0.25. Well, I want that as a fraction, so I'm going to click this sign right here that makes it into a fraction. It will turn my answer into a fraction. I need my clicker. There we go. So this would simplify down to 1/4. So let's just check that again, putting in the answer that I got by hand. 12 over 48 says 0.25. Turn that into a fraction. These are equal. So Desmos will do your simplification for you. Just keep that in mind if you want to use it for just simple number simplification. So our final answer is not 12 over 48. It is simplified down to 1/4 because each of them can be divided by the greatest common factor, which is 12. And then let's talk about simplifying before you multiply. 4 over 6 can both be divided by 2. So if I divide 4 by 2, I get 2. If I divide 6 by 2, I get 3. And now we can bring down 3 over 8 because that is already simplified. Now looking at this, I know 3 divided by 3 would become 1, so I'm going to just cancel out my 3's there because, you know, it can be simplified. I also know that 2 over 8, if I divide them both by 2, then I get 1 and 4. Simplifying before we multiply, so now we have a 1 here, 1 here. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. So we can do it either way there because multiplication has that commutative property. You can simplify and rearrange and all that good stuff to get your final answer. All right, now that we've thought about how to multiply fractions, let's apply some polynomials. Now, there are 5 strategies to simplifying rational expressions that you've learned. You're going to factor out a greatest common factor. You're going to factor trinomials. You're going to factor difference of squares. You're going to divide by a monomial, which is that -1 usually, or you're going to use the polynomial long division to simplify. So let's remember those strategies as we work on our problems. So our first problem we're going to look at here is x squared plus 5x plus 6 divided by x squared minus 9. And that is multiplied by x squared minus x minus 6 divided by x squared plus 3x. Now, remember we said we multiply straight across, so if I drew like a straight line across here, that's all multiplication. But I would have to put those grouping symbols in there, remember? And what would I have to do? If I put these, my pen starts right for me. Let me go back to that page there. Okay, get my pen working again. Okay, so if I drew a line straight across here, and I have to go ahead and add my grouping symbols in here. Then I would have to do all of that distribution, right? I don't know why that's not letting me write up there. It's getting my nerves now. Let me try that. Okay, so I would have to do all of these grouping symbols in here and distribute everything. And that's a lot of work. So how do I make it more simple? So let's take that first polynomial, x squared plus 5x plus 6, and let's factor it. Let's break it down. What are the factors of 6 that add up to 5? Well, that's going to be 2 times 3. So I'm going to change that to x plus 2 times x plus 3. Well, you're saying, does that make that easier? Or does that give me more things to distribute? Well, just hold tight here. I'll show you what we're going to do with x squared minus 9. If you recognize that x squared minus 9 is a difference of squares, you know that simplifies down to x minus 3 times x plus 3. Okay, so now do you see anything that I could eliminate? I hope that you see that this x plus 3 and this x plus 3 are then both in the numerator and the denominator, so they can be crossed out. So it just leaves me with x plus 2 over x minus 3. So that is a lot more simple looking than what I started with. Now let's talk about the second portion there, the x squared minus x minus 6. That should be able to be factored pretty easily too. What are the factors of negative 6 that add up to negative 1? Well, that's going to be x minus 3 and x plus 2. Because negative 3 times 2 equals negative 6. Negative 3 plus 2 equals negative 1. All right, so that's going to be over x squared plus 3x. Well, can I factor that down? It's not a difference of squares. So the only thing I can do is take the GCF of x out, and that leaves me with x plus 3. Okay, so is there anything I can cross off here? Anything that can be crossed off there? No. Good. So what do we have left here? This is going to go back up here. We're multiplying x minus 3 and x plus 2 over x times x plus 3. Now do you see anything that we can cross out? Notice how there's an x minus 3 down here and an x minus 3 up here. So I can simplify that again. So we have x plus 2 in the numerator twice. So I can write that twice, or I can just say that is squared. And that's all going to be over x times x plus 3. And that is my final answer for multiplying these two. If you feel like you need to rewind and watch that one more time, go ahead, but that is how we're going to proceed with these type of multiplication problems. Let's try another. All right. If you want to pause and see how you do on your own with this problem, feel free to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I am going to take this numerator, 4x, 4x, give me my pen back, 4x, and I am going to factor x squared plus 3x plus 2 into x plus 2 and x plus 1, because the factors of 2 that add up to 3 are 2 and 1. And that's all going to be over 3x squared plus 6x. I'm going to take out the greatest common factor there, which is 3x, and that's going to leave me with x plus 2. Now that is multiplied by 2x over x squared plus 2x. I'm going to factor out an x there as well, which is x plus 2. Okay, so this is my breakdown. I haven't crossed anything out. I've just factored both the numerator and denominator of both of the rational expressions. Now let's see if we can simplify them before we multiply. I'm going to definitely break out that x there. I'm going to definitely bring out that x plus 2. That matches. Is there anything else that I can take out? Look here. We've got an x here and we've got an x here. Let's go ahead and take that out, because that's the top over the bottom. So what does it leave me with? It leaves me with the 4 times 2 times x plus 1 all over the x plus 2. Oh, I have that 3 out there. Don't let me forget the 3. So I didn't cross off the 3. I didn't cross off the 4. I didn't cross off the 2. And I didn't cross off the x plus 2. So I've got it all over there. Bring it all together. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times x plus 1 all over 3 times x plus 2. That's my final answer. How'd you do on that? Are you struggling because you don't recognize how to factor quickly? Make sure that you're good on your factoring. Go back and review factoring if you need more practice. All right, part 2 objective here is dividing rational expressions. So if you remember that dividing, when we use fractions, is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So first thing that you're going to do here is to factor everything. If you're dividing, you're going to flip the second rational expression, and then you'll proceed with the multiplication problem like we just previously did, and then cancel out all common factors. So notice here on this problem here, this example, it's dividing by 2x minus 10 over 9x minus 8. So you're going to keep this first rational expression, change the sign from division to multiplication, and then flip the second rational expression to make it a multiplication problem. If you can remember the mnemonic keep, change, flip, or multiply by the reciprocal, those both mean the same thing. Okay, so looking at fractions, remember that you keep the first fraction, change the sign to multiplication, flip the second fraction, and then you multiply straight across. So 3/4 divided by 2/5 is the same as 3/4 times 5 over 2. Multiplying straight across gives me 3 times 5 is 15, and 4 times 2 is 8. So keep, change, flip. We're going to practice that on these next problems. All right, looking at this problem here, we have set it up as a division. I want to go ahead and change that to a multiplication. So I keep the first rational expression, change it to a multiplication sign, flip the second rational expression, and now we have a multiplication problem like we were just doing in our previous examples. So I can ignore this and just start simplifying by factoring, or however I can break this down. So x plus 6 is not factored anymore. X minus 2, there's nothing to factor out of that. and that is times x plus 4. X squared minus 36 is a difference of squares, x minus 6 and x plus 6. So now I have factored it down. What can I cross off? It looks like the only thing that I can simplify is the x plus 6. So it's going to leave me with x plus 4 in the numerator over x minus 2 times x minus 6. Apologies for the dog. Okay, sorry about that. Let's get back into this. That is going to be our final answer, x plus 4, x minus 2 over and x minus 6. Let's look at another example. Again, remember, keep, change, flip. So keep the first one, change the sign, and flip the second one. So I'm going to work on this first one here. X squared minus 4x minus 21 will factor down to the factors of 21 that add up to negative 4 is negative 7 and positive 3. Negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. And that's all over 6x squared. And I'm just going to go ahead and I just want to make my x's, break them down just in case I find an x I can take out somewhere around here. Okay? So now if I flip the second one, that's going to give me x squared minus 3x over x squared minus 9. All right, so factoring the numerator here, I'm going to take an x out. So that's going to leave me with x minus 3. You see why I separated my x's up with the 6? Okay, and then x squared minus 9 is a difference of squares, x plus 3, x minus 3. So now's the fun part. We are going to cancel out those common factors. So x minus 3, x minus 3, oops. Cross that out. Oh, good gracious. My apologies. Why are these technical difficulties happening to me, you say? I have no idea. There we go. Okay, I think I'm back. All right, try this again. All right, I just wanted to change my color here. So show me crossing out my like terms there. And then the x here, I want to cross it out. I'm going to cross out one of these x's. Oh, and then I have an x plus 3. I want to take that out as well. So what do I have left? I have x minus 7 on top, nothing else. I have 6x on the bottom, nothing else. Right? So our final answer is going to be x minus 7 all over 6x. Just bring everything that's left straight across. Nothing to multiply it by. Okay, so that is the example that we have for division. I have got 4 practice problems here for you to complete to see if you can apply what you just learned. I'm going to leave this here for you. I'm going to give you the answers real quick so that you know what your answers are supposed to look like. This top one is actually going to equal 1. This second one is actually going to equal x over 3 times x plus 2. I don't know why I did that. And this third one is going to be x minus 3 over x plus 1. And the last one is going to be 2x squared over x plus 4 times x plus 2. So I have set these 4 practice problems for you up so that you can apply what you've learned. Try to do these on your own. and see if you get the correct answer. Don't worry though, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I have a video here that you can click and see how to solve each of those. So if you don't get the problem correct, go ahead and click on that and see where you might have went wrong. Apply your knowledge. Hope to see you in the next lesson. Thanks so much.